oyster omelet McMuffin.
Ma'am, that was mighty tasty.
So in this video, I'm going to talk about the differences between Japan and United States of America, or America or USA, whatever I'm going to call. I'm going to refer to US. If you have lived long enough, you have asked many questions like, why do we have to wake up every morning? Like, why do we have to eat every time? Why do some people put the cereal before milk? I personally like to put the cereal with milk. Whatever the questions you might ask. So one of the questions you might have asked would be the differences between Japan and US. So I'm going to answer that. And when you answer those questions, the answer would be probably personal, or it's gonna be my point of view, to be honest. So it's gonna be my story or my point of view of seeing two different countries. I have lived in Japan for 20 years. I mean, I was born in Japan and grew up in Japan. And I have visited United States for 2 times, but I have lived in Canada for a year or something. So I know a little bit of culture over there. So I feel like there's something that I can talk. So let's get started. Okay, the first one is the size. The size of there, United States is so big, so huge. When I went there for the first time, I realized everything was huge, food, drinks, or popcorn in the theater. Maybe the theater itself was big. I don't know. I don't really remember. But the people over there were so big. And my height is kind of average in Japan, but when I went to clothing shop, it was so hard for me to find the right size. And probably the S size in US is bigger than L size in Japan. So when I try to find some clothes, I couldn't really find it that fits me, and I had to go to so many shops and I couldn't really find. But the biggest thing is that the size of the food. The biggest problem for Japanese people would be the size of the food, because wherever I go, whatever I order, it's gonna be huge, probably 1.5 times or 2 times bigger than Japan. For example, if you go to McDonald's and you order Big Mac, probably the Japanese Big Mac is really small and so cute for you guys. But when you go to United States, the Big Mac is actually big. I actually searched about this on the internet, and some people said the size of the burger is the same, but if you go to other burger shops like Burger King, the size of the burger is absolutely huge. But it's really good for me because I tend to eat a lot. So when I eat McDonald's in Japan, I feel like I want to eat more. But when I went to United States, I feel like the Big Mac was so huge and it was right size for me. But if I go to another restaurant, the food there is kind of a little bit more than I can eat. So I had to think about what I should order. And when I also went to a theater, the popcorn was huge. I couldn't finish it at all. I don't even understand how people finish the popcorn at the size of the popcorn. Probably it was 3 or 4 times bigger than normal popcorn in Japan. And drink was so huge, it's probably bigger than my head and face. So I couldn't really comprehend how people eat and drink there, and that was quite surprising for me. And everywhere I go or wherever I see, people are so taller than me, and I feel like I became small when I went to US. And when I came back to Japan, I feel like I became taller, but the height didn't really change, that kind of stuff. So that was the huge thing that I can notice, the difference between US and Japan. The size is totally different, and if you want to visit in Japan, you have to realize that you need to order more in order to be full. If you want to eat some normal size, don't expect too much. Don't expect to be big if you really want to be full in Japan. Try hard. Okay, the second thing that I have noticed is the cleanness, how clean the street is. The cleanness in Japan is quite good, I have to say. I have visited so many countries, and cleanness in Japan is something that I can proud of, and I really like about Japan. And when I went to US, I wouldn't say it's a dirty place, but I see some garbages being thrown on the street. Or when I went to New York, I see a lot of garbage on the street, and not really like enjoyable, I would say. But in Japan, the cases are rare, I would say. And if you really want to live in a clean side of place, maybe Japan would be a good place to live. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So the next one would be the friendliness there, the friendliness between US and Japan. So the friendliness in United States is quite awesome. I really like it. Like when you sneeze, people say like bless you and stuff. People talk to friendly, like people say hi and stuff. But when you live in Tokyo, especially in Tokyo in Japan, that kind of friendliness is non-existent in there. Like the friendliness will be gone in there, like not friendly at all in Tokyo. So I would like to say US has some kind of friendliness, and I see a lot of movies. I see Japanese people are fantasizing about like the friendliness in US. If you live in a countryside of Japan, yeah, some people really friendly. I mean, a lot of people are friendly, but if you live in a city in Japan, it's gonna be a little bit sad and lonely. And if you don't have friends, it's gonna be a little bit hard for you to make friends over there. So if you wanna live in Japan, I would recommend you to live in a countryside so that you don't feel stressed or you don't feel less lonely. Like you will feel less lonely if you live in a countryside, I would say. But it's gonna be difficult for you, maybe. I'm not really sure about it, but yeah, let's go to the next one. So the next one is the freedom of the school. Yes, freedom of the school is totally different. I attended to the Canadian high school for a year, and like a lot of people say, yeah, Canada and US is so much difference. There are so many differences in there, but yeah, there's similarities as well. So I'm going to talk about it. So when you attend the high school in Japan, you are supposed to wear the school uniform, and you have to have like 6 or 7 periods of classes, and you are not allowed to eat anything or drink anything, or you have to style your hair like what they say, and there's so many rules that you have to follow in Japanese school, like high school, junior high school, or anything, generally speaking. But when I went to Canadian high school, or when I watched the like high school musical or like any kind of movies that represent like United States, I see so many freedoms. Like I see a lot of people eating during classes. I see a lot of people drinking. Drink some water or Coke or anything, and there is so much freedom there. And I kind of feel like it's better for you to have a little bit of freedom in class, like especially like not allowing students to drink water during the class is not really scientific. Like if you drink more water, it's going to be good for your health. You will be able to concentrate more. So there's so many things I have noticed about this class rule, like school rules, that didn't really make sense in Japan. But there's so many like good sides as well. But like I would say a little bit of freedom is needed in Japanese school, and a little bit of freedom will increase their identity, anything. Like they're good in a good sense. Yeah, you can have some order, and you will be able to create environment for you to concentrate, like especially for the students. But I feel like there are so many city stories that I can make another video about it. So that's the thing. The freedom in school is there's so much freedom in school in United States than Japan one. Yeah. So let's go to the next one. So the next thing I have realized is that I went to New York City, and I have explored the city around, and I realized that I didn't feel like impressed a little bit like when I went there, to be honest. Because I have visited Tokyo like many times, and I see a lot of high, like tall buildings and so I kind of expected New York City to be more city, but like it didn't turn out to be that way. But I mean it's just my personal experience and personal opinion. And like the New York City is really nice. The Central Park is so beautiful, and the city over there is quite nice. But I felt like Tokyo is a little bit bigger, like a little bit city, a little more city, and there are many things that you can do, like many entertainments, many like the amusement park, like amusement places and stuff. So yeah, that's the thing that I have realized. But yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, Tokyo is more crowded and more chaotic, I would say. That's what I have realized as a Japanese. Okay, moving on. The last thing that you could realize about Japan and US is the building. I mean, the history is different. The history of Japan is like Buddhism, like it came from the origin is Buddhism, and you can see shrines or like any kind of, temples or anything. And you can see a lot of buildings, like different festivals, and food is also different. But I would say the historical places you're gonna see in Japan is so much different from the Western buildings. So if you want to know, like if you want to explore some unique places, Japan would be the best place to like visit and explore your perspective and whatever your view. Yeah, anything you see is gonna be totally different. Like Japan has some earthquakes, so I think the law for the buildings are different, like so they have to make specifically to be get ready for the earthquake, and that changes the style of the houses. I would think that would be one of the reasons. And other reason could be the Japanese traditional houses that you can see. They're so amazing, and there gonna be so many differences you can notice. So yeah, if you want to experience that, like I recommend you to use the Airbnb so that you can stay in a local Japanese house and stuff. That's pretty much the differences I have talked about, and I wanted to talk about. If you want to ask other things, you just write some comments, and if you like this video, put the like button. What else should I say? Yeah, subscribe to this channel if you have watched this far. And in addition to that, I am teaching Japanese online, and if you wanna join me, just click the website link below. See you guys later. Bye bye.